Hello everyone, Dr. Paoletti here. I'm going to be making a video for you for Project 1 Puzzle Solver, and we're going to go through some examples. We'll do some talking about implementation of the project, both as we talk about the examples and some more at the end, and hopefully this will help you out getting started on the project. So I drew out here ahead of time, I've got a 2D map. Well, really, all of the maps are 2D, but this one has no extra colors other than the default color. So we want to keep this simple, and then we'll go to a bigger example after we get this one done. And you'll notice I wrote up at the top, we're going to run it as a queue for our search container. All right, so we've got our map, we've got our start location, so we're going to start by adding the start location to the search container. So that would be row 1, column 1. I'm going to put these in row, comma, column order. I think that is that order because that's how my loops would run, etc. Okay, so we'll start out with 1, comma 1 goes into the search container, and before we start our looping, we've also got to do something to keep track of not just what locations have been discovered, but also how did we get there? Because the how did we get there is going to be really important at the end. So you see over on the right here, I've got the backtrace, and the backtrace is the same size as the input, and since there's only one color, I only need one section of backspace. We'll see another example coming up with a bigger one. So at the beginning, I've got all blank spaces in here. And you could do that for your backtrace. It could be all blank spaces. You could put some letter in there like dot or something like that. And then what we're going to do is as we mark things as how we got here, we're going to replace those default characters with something else. So I just left them as blank spaces because that was the least amount of work to write out this example. So if something is a blank space in the backtrace info, we know it has not yet been discovered. Now, this isn't going to make a lot of sense if you haven't read at least part of the project spec yet, but one of the keys is that we only discover things once. And that's important because otherwise we might start out at the start and go north and go back south and go north and go south and go north and go south and loop forever going nowhere. So we've got to make sure that we only discover things once. When we put them into the search container, that's when they get discovered. And that's what the backtrace info is going to tell us. So we could call this the backtrace, we could call it the discovery, whatever makes sense to you. So most of the locations are going to have to say, like, where did they come from? But for the start, it's kind of special. It is discovered, but it didn't really come from anywhere. So I'm just going to put, in my backtrace, I'm going to put an @ sign in there to say, hey, this one, the character has changed. It has been discovered. How did I get here? Well, I started here. That's what makes sense to me thinking about it. Okay, so we add the start location to the search container. We mark it in our backtrace as discovered, and you'll see I'm sort of giving this away here. Look at my backtrace. My backtrace looks like vector, or two-dimensional vector. Or when we see the real one, we'll see it's a three-dimensional vector. We do not, in 281, want to keep things like lists. I don't want to say, ooh, I've got an empty list of what's discovered, and I'll add 1, 1 to that list. And then when the problem with having a list of what's discovered is later on, I have to say, well, have I discovered row 3, column 2 yet? Well, I don't know. Maybe I should go through everything in the list and do a linear search and see if it's in there. That's a lot of work. We don't want to do linear searches. So when I want to know things like, oh, have I ever visited row 2, column 3? I can go to the backtrace and go to row 2, column 3. There's a space there. Nope, never discovered it. And that took me of one time. Took me one access to the row, one access to the column, look at the character, see it's a space, I'm done. But if I had a list of everywhere I had discovered, I would have to search everything in that list, which could be as big as almost everything. So it could be as bad as O of n. We don't like O of n if we can get it done in O of 1. All right, so there's our start. Now, here's where we get into the part of the project spec, which, and I should have looked this up ahead of time, is referred to as the algorithm. So this is where we're running the algorithm. So we already did steps 1 and 2, and now we're getting to step 3, is we're going to loop while that search container is not empty. Think of the search container as the places that I know I still have to investigate. We're going to get to that word investigate in a minute. It's a list of places I know I still have to investigate. If the search container were to ever be empty, and I haven't found the goal yet, I've run out of places to look. So if I were to do something like, oh, let's change this in the map, let's change that to a number sign. Well, I will end up exploring the start and these things around it, and I'll never be able to get to the goal, and my search container will become empty, and I'll say, oh, well, look at that, there's no solution. Search container became empty. So we're not going to do that example here. We're going to do one with a real solution. Okay, so we do our loop. While the search container is not empty, we take the next thing out of the search container, and that becomes our current state. All right, so 1, 1 is my current state, and I take it out of the search container. So I'm just going to cross that out. Okay, so 1, 1 is my current state. I've already discovered it. Now I need to investigate it. What investigate means is look at where can I go from here. And the rules are pretty simple. This one doesn't have any buttons, so let's state the rule, but we're not going to have to worry about it yet. If you're standing on a button, which is a lowercase letter, or a trap, which is the caret, so buttons are things like A, B, C, etc., and the trap is the caret, which is Shift 6 on most keyboards. So if I'm standing on a button or trap, let's just say button. If I'm standing on anything that changes my color, a button or a trap, then I have to do button stuff. Whether I can do anything or not, I do button stuff. If I'm not standing on a trap, then I can do northeast, southwest stuff. All right, so in this example, we're always going to be doing northeast, southwest stuff because there are no buttons, there are no traps. There's nothing to change our color. All right, so my current state is 1, 1, and I'm going to look at where am I? Am I standing on a button? No. All right, let's do northeast, southwest in that order. So I look north. So the things I have to do when I look north is, first off, I got to say, is north a valid place to look? Because if I'm in row 0, I'm not allowed to look north. That would be like if I say, hey, let's take row 0 minus 1 and subscript that, that's going to be a seg fault. So I say, hey, I'm not in row 0, so yes, I can look north. What is north of me? Is it something, and we can do this in any order, but you want to do it efficiently, is it something I can walk on? So I first got to check, is it valid to go there? Is it something I could walk on? And is it someplace I've never discovered yet? If all of those things are true, then we can discover that location. So investigate means to look around where you are and see what you can discover from where you are. So I'm going to look north. North of me does exist. It's a valid place to look. I've never been there, and there's a dot there. Dot is something I would like to walk on. So let's add that location. So that would be row 0, column 1. Gets added to the search container, and we can't leave the backtrace alone. As soon as we put something in the search container, we got to modify our backtrace. So I could say something here. I've got to make some sort of indication of like, how did I get here? Like I could say I could say I got here by going north, or alternatively I could say, wait a minute, my undo is not, oh there we go. Or I could say I came here from the south. Either one will work, you've just got to stay consistent. So let's put a capital S there to say I came from the south. All right, so remember, we're still at 1, 1. We're looking around north, east. So does east of me, is it a valid location? Yes. Is it somewhere I've discovered already? No, that's good. And is it something I would be willing to walk upon? Yes, it is. All right, so east of me would be row 1, column 2. So I add that to the search container, and in row 1, column 2 of the backtrace, I have to say how I got here. I got here from the west. Okay, then we go to south of my current location. South of my current location. It's a valid row. It's someplace I've never discovered. And is it something I would walk on? No. The number sign is a solid wall. I don't feel like walking through solid walls, so I can't do anything the one south of my current state. So I look west. I say that's a valid location. I've never been there, but it's not something I would walk on, so we can't do anything else with it. All right, so we've finished investigating this location, and we haven't found the target, the goal, the question mark, so we go back through the loop. All right, now I said we were doing a queue, so we would take from the front of the queue. So the current state is really, this is sort of, my drawing is a little missing. Current state is a single variable. I'm going to replace the current state 1, 1 with 0, 1, which is at the front of the queue, and then I'm going to get rid of it from the search container. All right, so my current location is 0, 1, and I start investigating 0, 1. So the first thing I say is, am I standing on a button or a trap? No. All right, if it's not a button or a trap, I got to do northeast, southwest stuff. Can I look north of row 0? No, that's invalid. Okay, how about east? East is a valid location. East has never been discovered before. East of me is something I would be willing to walk on. So I'm going to add the square east of me would be 0, 2. And in the backtrace, I have to record I got here from the west. Alrighty. So then I did north, I did east. I say, what about south of me? South of me is a valid location. Oh, it's already been discovered. Don't do anything. All right, how about west of me? I'm trying to draw this your way. So west of me. West of me would be a valid location. I've never been to that location 0, 0. It is something I would be willing to walk upon. So I've got to add 0, 0 to my queue. All right, and I've got to mark how I got here. I got here from the east. Okay, so I've checked northeast, southwest. I've checked everything around me. I'm done investigating this location. I haven't found the target, so go back through the loop. Loop says take the next location out of the search container. So next location in the search container would be 1, 2. So my current state becomes 1, 2. We get rid of that from the search container, and we start looking around. All right, so from 1, 2, row 1, column 2, I say, first of all, what am I standing on? It's not a button or a trap, so I do northeast, southwest stuff. I look, is north of me a valid place to look? Yes, that row exists. So north of me is a valid place to look. Has it been discovered before? Oh, it's already been discovered. Done. All right, let's look east of where I am. East of where I am, is it valid to look east? Yes, it is. Is it somewhere I've been before? No. Is it something I could walk on? No. All right, we don't do anything with that. All right, let's look south of our current location. South of me, does it exist? Yes. Is it discovered? No, that's good. And is it something I would be willing to walk upon? Yes, it is. It's a dot. So that would be 2, 2. So 2, 2 gets added to my search container. And I've got to mark how I got here. I came from the north. All right, and then we look west of our current location. West of me does exist. West of me has already been discovered, so we can't discover it again. We're done. Okay, so we're done investigating this location. Haven't found the target. We go back through the loop. Okay, go back through the loop. Got to get a new location out of the search container. So my new state is 0, 2. 0, 2 gets popped out of that queue. And we start looking around 0, 2. So can I look north of here? No, it doesn't exist. Can I look east of here? It does exist. I've never been there, but it's a solid wall, so can't do anything with that. All right, let's try south of my current location. South of my current location, it's a valid location. I look at the backtrace. Oh, I've already been there. Nothing to do with south of me. Okay, we look west of us. So remember, our current location is 0, 2. We look west of 0, 2. Does it exist? Yes. Have we already been there? Yes, so we can't do anything. All right, that's it. That was all of the discovery of 0, 2. That was all the investigation of 0, 2. We did not discover anything new. All right, back through the loop. New location. So take the next one out of the queue. So 0, 0 becomes my current location. Pop it out of the container. And now we start investigating around 0, 0. Can I look north of 0, 0? No. Can I look east? Yes, it does exist, but it's already discovered, so we can't do anything else. We check south of 0, 0. Is it a valid location? Yes. Have we ever been there? No. Is it something we could walk on? No, it's a solid wall. Okay. From 0, 0, can I look east? No, it doesn't exist. West. Can I look west? No, it doesn't exist. All right, we're done investigating 0, 0. There was nothing to discover from 0, 0. But we've still got places to look because the search container isn't empty. One thing that's important to think about when you're solving this is don't think of it as I was at 0, 0, and then suddenly I was at where? Well, the next location is 2, 2. Don't think of it as like, wait, I teleported. You didn't say anything about teleporting. No. Think of it this way. You are still standing right there until your program that you're running produces a set of directions. Your feet are glued to that location. The program is checking out things in the order that the queue strategy says to discover them and to investigate them. So the program is running, and until the program says, yes, there's a solution, here it is, you don't move. So the program investigates this location, the program investigates that location, your feet are glued to the floor until the program is done running. And if the program says there's a solution, here's how to get to the goal, you do it. And if the program says there's no solution, well, you print out what you discovered and you're done. Okay, so our current location becomes 2, 2, and we pop it out of the queue. But remember, this was in a loop. This was a loop that said while the search container is not empty. And a moment ago, the search container was not empty. So we entered the loop. The front of the search container becomes our current location, and we pop. But we're already in the loop. We've got a location. We've still got places to look. We can look from 2, 2. All right, so we go to 2, 2. 2, 2 is our current location. Can I look north of here? Does it exist? It exists. Have I ever been there before? Yes, I've already been there, so we can't discover that. All right, how about 2, 2? Can I look to the east? East exists, yes. Have I ever been there? No. Is it something I would walk on? Yes, it's a dot. Okay, great. So I could add east of 2, 2 would be 2, 3. So 2, 3 gets added to the search container, and in the backtrace, I would say, hey, I came from the west. All right, so now we keep looking around our current location. We got to finish investigating our current location 2, 2. Does south of me exist? Yes. Have I ever been there? No. Is it something I'd be willing to walk on? No, it's a solid wall, so we can't go there. All right, let's investigate check to the west of us. So I look to the west of me and I say, well, west of me does exist. I've never stepped there before. Oh, but it's a number sign. It's a solid wall. I can't go there. All right, we're done investigating 2, 2. We have still not run out of places to look. The search container's not empty. Go back through the loop. Search container's not empty, so current state, we copy it from the search container 2, 3. Then inside the loop, we pop from the search container and we investigate 2, 3. All right, 2, 3. And I sort of been skipping the am I a button or not for a while. Okay, Am I standing on a button? No. So I'm going to do northeast, southwest stuff. All right, so 2, 3. Can I look north? Yes, I can look north. That's a valid location. Have I ever been there before? No. Is it something I would walk on? No, it's a solid wall. Okay, I can't go north. Let's look east of our current location. So east of our current location, is that a valid place to look? No, it's off the edge of the map. Don't look there. All right, what about south? South is a valid location, so that would be 3, 3. Have I ever been there before? No. Is it something I would walk on? Yeah, that's the target. That's a good thing to walk on. So let's finish the algorithm, right? We're in the middle of investigation. We look south. So I would add 3, 3 to the search container. I would mark 3, 3. How did I get here? I came from the north. Now, the one I've just checked is the target. Since it's the target, I stop. I'm not even going to get to the code that says, oh, well, look west of the current location. I don't even make it there. If this was a function, we could return from the function. Hey, that's a great thing to do. If it was a loop, we could break out of the loop. We could also, hey, maybe we could do something also like say, hey, is there a solution? Is there a solution? Let's mark it as true before I leave my searching. Let's mark that as true. There is a solution. Or if I was a function, I could return true to someone else who would then check what the search function said. Did the search function return true or did the search function return false? Lots of ways to do that. We just want to stop. As soon as we add the goal, the question mark location, to the search container and mark how we got there, we want to stop. We don't want to keep looking any further. We want to stop when we put it in, not when we take it out. Okay, so now at this point, we know there's a solution. What is the solution? Oh, okay, well, let's start back at the beginning. Wait, we can't start back at the beginning. Back at the beginning, there were 4 different ways to go. I could go north, east. I couldn't really go south because there was a solid wall there, but I could go. So I did do north and east. I didn't do south and west. But there's 2 choices from the beginning. But remember, everybody meaning every location now has either been discovered or not been discovered. Everybody that's discovered, because they could only be discovered once, they only have one place that they came from, right? So now what we can do is we can say, hey, let's not start at the beginning, let's start at the end. Let's start at, oh, of course, my phone pings out. I should turn that off. Sorry. Let's start at the end, all right? So we're going to need some sort of container here because we're going to look from the target back to the beginning, but I really want to print how I got from the beginning to the target. So we need a container that we can put stuff in and take stuff out. We could use a stack. We could use a vector. We could use a linked list, but linked lists are almost never the answer in 2D1. So let's just call this the path. What is my path? Well, my path is 3, 3. That's the target. That's where I reached. That was my goal, my question mark. So 3, 3. So now what I do is I look in my backtrace. I say, hey, 3, 3, where did you come from? Well, I came from the north. Well, north of that would have been 2, 3. Okay, 2, 3. Where in the backtrace did you come from? Oh, I came from the west. Oh, wouldn't that be 2, 2? It would. Okay, that would be 2, 2. Look in the backtrace. 2, 2. Where did you come from? 2, 2 says I came from the north. Oh, that would be 1, 2. Let's put that in the path. Okay, 1, 2. Where did you come from? Oh, I came from the west. Okay, so that would be 1, 1. 1, 1. Where did you come from? I'm the start. Hey, look, my loop of filling up my path container can end because I'm looking at the person whose backtrace says I came from the start. I am the start. So now I'm done filling up my path container. If I wanted to print list output mode, here's a hint, list output mode is easier. All I have to do is go backwards through my path. If this is something like a stack, I could look at the top, print some stuff and pop it. If it was a vector, I could look at the back of the vector, print some stuff and pop it out. Either way, list output mode is pretty easy. Map output mode is a bit harder. What we could do for map output mode is we could go through our backtrace and change it basically to what we want printed. And so what we really want printed is, like, I want to say, hey, when I was at the start, where did I go? I kind of went east, right? That's really what I want to say. I went east. But, well, wait a minute. I don't want to really print that. I want to print I started here. Okay, so the start says start. Everything else basically gets replaced with a plus or an at or a percent sign for arrivals and on a new floor and leaving a floor, etc. So basically what we would end up doing is we would go through this part of the path in the backtrace info, and I could say, hey, let's replace this with a plus sign, replace that with a plus sign, replace this with a plus sign, and replace that with a plus sign. I think. I could be wrong. I can't remember if we want to print the question mark or not. Gosh, I should have double checked that before I started doing this. Let me pause for a second. Okay, I'm not sure if that pause worked or not. Hopefully this whole thing worked. So yeah, we don't want to change that to a plus sign. What we want to change it to is, hey, we really want to print a question mark here. So then when it's time to print the map, what I could do is I could look at the backtrace. If the backtrace is an at or a plus or a question mark or a percent that comes in when there's multiple floors, I would print what's in the backtrace. Otherwise, I would print what's in the original map. Okay, so I'm going to have to pause this here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get another example ready, and we're going to go through another example of doing this with a map with multiple colors. Okay, we're back. So I've got a much larger example here. Hopefully I don't make any mistakes while I'm doing this. I'm actually re-recording this from a demo that one of my IAs had done, partly because we changed the terminology a little bit. We wanted to make it a little bit clearer and easier to understand, and so I had to redo it. But he did make a mistake during his. It didn't affect the output, but it was a minor mistake. So hopefully we'll be careful we won't make any here. All right, so let's run through this big example. So we've got, this map would say, like on the first line, it would say 244. There are two colors beyond the default color, and then it's a 4x4, 4 rows, 4 columns. Okay, so we've got our input, we've got 2 extra colors, we've got our input map. So the map is always 2-dimensional, but now our backtrace is really 3-dimensional. We could think of it as before in the first example. Yeah, I had a 3D backtrace, but I always looked in the first dimension was always 0. And it is critical. It is critical. The way I've drawn it here is the way you want it in memory. When you refer to your backtrace, and I'll just erase this in a second. When you refer to your backtrace, we want to say something like backtrace, or whether you call it discovered or whatever. Backtrace, square brackets, color number, then row, and then column. That's the order we want our subscripts to go in when we've got our 3D structure. And it has to do with how memory is laid out and how things are done efficiently inside the computer, a little bit beyond what I want to do in the video now. So if you want to, you can look up things called cache locality of reference. Look that up. That'll explain why we're doing it in this order. Anyway, Now I need my eraser to get rid of all that. Okay. So, we're going to go through this example again. Like I said, hopefully not making any mistakes. And I'm getting another pings on my phone. I turned it off, but I've got one of my former IAs sent me a picture of 5 of my former IAs graduating together at the big house on Saturday. And also then he sent me a follow-up to tell me, oh, by the way, we are all vaccinated. So it's cool to see them hanging out together still and also thinking of me. All right, so we've got our big example here. So let's run through this. So we've got to start at the start. And we always start in the default color. We sort of skipped that last time, but we're going to have to show it this time. So into my search container goes default color, and then my start location happens to be 0, 0. And in the backtrace, in the caret backtrace, I've got to put something in there to say, oh yeah, you're the start location. You're not undiscovered, you are now discovered. You have something other than the default character. We'll put an ampersand like we did last time. All right, so now we run through our big loop while the search container is not empty. And notice I said up here we're doing a queue again. The queue or stack won't affect whether or not you find a solution, but it could affect the order in which you investigate and discover things. It could affect the output, but it will never affect whether or not there is a solution. You'll find it either way, you just might find it with a different sort of route through the map. All right, so we go through the loop. We take the current state is now caret 0, 0, and we get rid of that. Remember, we're already inside the loop though. So now we investigate our current state. So we look, north doesn't exist, east does exist. Oh wait, I forgot. I'm not standing on a button, so I do northeast, southwest stuff. North doesn't exist, east does exist. East has never been discovered before, so we can add east of us to the search container, so that would be caret 0, 1. And we say in the backtrace, I came from the west. All right, so then we check south of us does exist. It's never been discovered before. It's something we would walk on. So caret 1, 0 gets added to the search container, and we mark it as I came from the north. Okay, west of us does not exist. Can't go there. All right, go back through the loop. Current state changes. Current state gets replaced with the front of the queue, so that would be caret 0, 1. I'm going to leave off the parentheses on the current state. Save me a little bit of time. Okay, so caret 0, 1 gets removed from the search container, and now we investigate caret 0, 1. Am I standing on a button? No. Okay, I do northeast, southwest stuff. Can I look north? No, doesn't exist. Can I look east of me? East of me, I can look there. It's never been discovered before. Is east of me something I can step on? No, it's an A. It's a capital A, and I'm in the default color. When I'm in default color, capital A's and B's, etc., look like solid walls to me. I can't step on that A, so we don't add it. Okay, how about south of me? South of me does exist. It's never been discovered before. It is something I would be willing to walk on, and so I can add south of me would be caret 1, 1 gets added to the search container, and in the backtrace we mark it caret 1, 1. I came from the north. Okay, what about west of me? West of me exists, but it's already been discovered, so we don't do anything. Okay, I've investigated the current location. I'm going to do this kind of fast because you can pause it whenever you want to and rewind. Okay, so we've done everything with the current location. We go back through the loop, get a new current state out of the search container, which would be caret 1, 0. Get rid of that. Okay, caret 1, 0. We investigate caret 1, 0. Am I standing on a button? No, so I do northeast, southwest stuff. Is north a valid location? Yes, but it's already been discovered before. Okay, east of me. East of me exists, but it's been discovered before. South of me exists. It hasn't been discovered, but it's a solid wall. West of me doesn't exist. Okay, we're done investigating caret 1, 0. It didn't add anything to our search container. So we go back through the loop. Search container's not empty. We get a new state out of the search container, so that would be caret 1, 1. Oops, I almost put another caret there, caret 1, 1. And then we pop that out of the search container, and now we start investigating caret 1, 1. All right, caret 1, 1. Am I standing on a button? Yes, I am. If I'm standing on a button, I can only do button stuff. Whether I do any button stuff is irrelevant. I'm standing on a button, so I only do button stuff. So button stuff is basically, oh, look, I'm standing on an A. Let's look in room. First of all, does room A exist? Oh, yes, it does. Okay, good. Is it someplace I've already discovered? No, it's not. Aha, so I've never been there before. So I could add that location. What location? A11. See, I'm in caret 1, 1. I'm saying, hey, if I push this button, I've gone to color A. So we add A11 to our search container. And I've also got to mark it. A11 has to say it's discovered. And where did I come from? Where did I come from? Well, I came from not the north, east, south, or west. I came from a different color. I came from the default color. That's where I came from. All right, so I came from the default color. So now that's it. That's button stuff. I'm done. You're going to ask me, what if a button leads to another button? Well, it can't, because a button is a button. It's itself. Okay, don't worry about that. Well, what about if I change colors and then there's a question mark adjacent to it? Don't worry about that now. Don't make the code more complicated than you have to. When you do button stuff, you look, does the other room exist? Have I not discovered it? Add it, and then when you take it out, then you look around for a question mark. So if there was a question mark next to where we arrived, we would figure that out when we investigate A11. We're not there yet. So don't try to make the project more complicated than it has to be. It'll be complicated enough, don't worry. All right, so we have finished button stuff, so we go back through the loop. While the search container is not empty, it's not. We take the next thing out of the search container. So my current state becomes A11 is my current state. We pop that from the search container, and then we say, okay, A11. Here's a good question. Am I standing on a button? No. In color A, the A button is like an open floor. See, when I get to color A, the lowercase a's look like open floor. The capital A's look like open floor. And so you're going to have maybe a function that can tell you, like, what are you looking at? Like, given a current color and a row column, what is that to you? So I would give this function, hey, my current color is A, and I'm thinking about location 1, 1. What is it? Oh, that's a dot to you, because you're in color A, and A is like an open floor. So I'm not standing on a button. If I'm not standing on a button, I can do north, east, south, west stuff. All right, so northeast, southwest stuff. So does north of me exist? Yes, it does. Have I ever been there before? No. Is it something I would be willing to walk on? Yeah, there's a dot to the north of me. Okay, great. So let's add that location to the search container. So that location would be A01. I'm being parsimonious with my space here because I know I'm going to add a lot to this search container. Okay, so I add A01, so that was north of me. I look north, east, southwest, so I look east of me. Is east of me a valid location? Yes. Have I ever been to the east of me before? No. Is it someplace I would be willing to go? No, it's a solid wall. Okay, done with that. All right, how about south of me? South of me does exist. South of me has never been discovered before. What is south of me? Well, I'm in color A. South of me is a capital B. That's effectively a wall. I can't step there. Okay? Northeast, south. What about west of me? West of me, does it exist? Yes. Oh, whoops. Oh, you're probably thinking, Dr. Paoletti, you goofed up a while ago. I did goof up a while ago. I forgot to do my backtrace. I added something to the search container. I added the A01 to the search container, but I forgot to update my backtrace. How did I get here? I came from the south. Okay, so I did north. East of me, I can't step on a solid wall. South of me, I can't step on a capital B. West of me. West of me does exist. West of me is, I've never been there. West of me is something I would be willing to step on. That's a dot. Therefore, yeah, I'd be willing to go there. All right, so that would be A10, whoops, A10. So A10 would be west of A11. So I add that, and I got a marker. Let's not forget the backtrace again. Okay, so in the backtrace, we got to say, how did I get here? Well, I came here from the east. All right, so we added 2 new locations. So we're done with the current location. We've investigated everything around it. Go back through the loop. Current state changes. We replace the current state with the next thing in search container, which is A01. Get rid of A01, and we start looking around A01. So, A01. Can I go north? No, it doesn't exist. Can I go east? Well, it does exist. East of me is someplace I've never been. East of me is something I can walk on. Because I'm in color A, that capital A is like open floor to me. So yes, I can go there. So I would add A02 to the search container, and we got to do the backtrace. So A02 says, how did I get here? I got here from the west. All right, so that was, north of me didn't exist, east of me is good, south of me exists, but I've already been there. Done. Okay, how about west of me? This is a good one to look at. So I'm at A01. West of me is a valid location. West of me, I've never been there before. What is west of me? The start location only really exists in the default color. In color A, that @ sign looks like a dot to me, and I can step there. Okay. So that means I should add A00 to the search container. I should mark A00 as how I got here. I came from the east. Okay, so I'm done with west of me. So I've done everything around the current location. We go back through the loop. While the search container is not empty, get a new current state would be A10. Take that out of the search container. And A10, we start investigating around us. So A10, so that's row 1, column 0. Okay, so A10. All right, so A10. Can I look north of me? Yes, it exists. Have I ever been there before? Yes, I have. Oh, okay, I'm done looking north. All right, how about east of me? East of me exists. East of me, I've already been there. All right, how about south of me? South of me exists. I've never been south of me, but it's a solid wall, so we can't go there. All right, how about west of me? West of me, when I'm in A10, west of me does not exist. So that's it. This one didn't add anything to the search container. All right, we go back through the loop. While the search container is not empty, take the next thing out of the search container would be A02. A02 gets popped. And now we say, okay, let's look at A02. And I've sort of been skipping this because it has been. Is A02, am I standing on a button? No, I'm standing on a dot. All right, so A02, I'm doing northeast southwest stuff because it's not a button. Does north of me exist? No. Can't look there. How about east of me? All right, east of me does exist. East of me, I've never been there before. Looking in the A backtrace, I've never been there before. So is it something I would step on? Yeah, it's a dot, so I would go there. All right, so that would be, if I'm in A02, east of me would be A03, and A03 needs to say I came from the west. All right, so now that's east of me, south of my current location. So my location is A02. I look at A12. A12, that location exists. In the backtrace, I've never been there before, but looking at it, it's a solid wall, so I can't go there. All right, how about west of me? West of me exists, but I've already discovered it, so we can't go west. All right, done with investigating this location. So go back through the loop. Container's not empty. We get a new current location. A00 is my current location. We pop that out and we investigate A00. Is A00 a button? No, it's not. It's an open floor because the @ sign is like a dot in color A. All right, so I look and I see I'm not standing on a button, so I do northeast southwest stuff. Does north of me exist? No. Does east of me exist? Yes, but it's already discovered. How about south of me? South of me exists, but it's already been discovered. How about west of me? West of me doesn't exist. Okay, I'm done with A00. There was nothing new. When I investigate this, I discovered nothing new. All right, so we go back through the while. While the search container is not empty, we get a new location, A03, pop it out, and now we investigate A03. Is A03 a button? No. All right, we do northeast southwest stuff. North of me doesn't exist, done. East of me doesn't exist, done. South of me does exist. Look at the backtrace and say I've never been here before. Look at the map and say, hey, that's a dot. I'd be willing to go there. Okay, so that would be A13 would be south of me. A13, we have to put in the backtrace to say I came from the north. All right, now, so that was south of me. West of me exists. West of me, I've never been there before. Oh, but it's a solid wall, so forget it. Okay, we're done investigating A03. Go back through the while loop. While the search container is not empty, get a new location out of it. That's A13 is my current location. Pop it out. And then we've got to investigate A13. So, A13. Am I standing on a button? No. All right, let's do the northeast southwest stuff. Does north of me exist? Yes. Have I ever been there? Oh, I've already been there. Can't do north. All right, how about east of me? East of me, off the edge of the map. Nope. All right, how about south of me? South of me does exist. Backtrace says I've never been there before. Look at the map. It's a B. I'd be willing to walk on a B. So we add that. So that would be A23. Gets added to my search container. That's kind of a sloppy 3. A23 gets added to the search container. A23 has to say, I came here from the north. All right, so A23 is where is marked in the backtrace. And then we go, okay, so I've done north of me, east of me didn't exist. I did south of me. Oh, what about west of me? All right, west of me does exist. I've never been there before. Oh, but it's a solid wall. I can't walk there. Okay, we're done investigating A13. Go back through the while the search container is not empty. Get a new thing out. So we replace the current location with A23. Pop that from the search container. And now we investigate A23. Am I standing on a button? Yes. Okay, if I'm standing on a button, I got to do button stuff. All right, so if I'm standing on a button, I've got to do button stuff. So I got to check out B23. All right, so B23. Room B exists, that's good, okay. I believe in this project we would reject input files. So like, if there was only room A, we wouldn't accept an input file with a lowercase b in it. So we don't really have to check that. When we go looking at buttons, we know the room will exist. If it didn't exist, we would have rejected the input file before we ever start searching. Yep, that's right. Okay, so I say I'm standing on button B. I know room B exists. Have I ever been to where B23? 23 is my current row and column. I'm looking in the other color. So have I ever been to color B, row 2, column 3? No, Backtrace says I've never been there before. Okay, so let's add B23 to my search container, and let's mark B23 as how did I get here, right? How did I get to B23? Where did I come from? I came from my current location, which happens to be in the same location, but in room A. Whoops, I started making an @ sign there. So I came from A. That's where I came from. Notice I've sort of given something away here. The how I got here does not need to be a coordinate. It doesn't need to be like I came from room 1, row 2, column 3, because that would be 3 integers. That would be 12 bytes of data. All I really need for the backtrace is a character. I need a character for I've never been here before, a character for how did I get here, and a character for like the start. And we've got to be careful about one thing. If we had like 5 or 6 floors, I can't use like lowercase e to mean I got here from the east and lowercase e to mean I got here from room E. We got to go uppercase for one and lowercase for the other. Doesn't matter which way you go. You can do like I did. You can reverse them. Just be consistent. All right. So we got I came from A is marked in the backtrace, and that's it. I did my button stuff. I checked where the button would lead me to, the other color. All right, so the other colors have been added to the search container. I'm done with the button. So we go back through the while loop. While the search container is not empty, it's not. So we get a new location. So the current location is B23. Pop that out, and then we investigate B23. Is B23 a button? No, because in color B, a lowercase b looks like a dot. So B23 is not a button. We do northeast southwest stuff. So I do northeast southwest from here. Does north of me exist? Yes. Have I ever been there before? No. Is it something I would walk on? Yeah, north of me is a dot. So B13 gets added to the search container, and we got to mark how did we get here? I got here from the south. All right, east of me, off the edge of the map, don't look there. South of me does exist. South of me, Backtrace says I've never looked there, I've never discovered that before. Map says it's a dot. Okay, I'd be willing to go there. So that would be B33. So B33 gets added to the search container. B33 says I got here from the north. Alrighty. West of me. So west of me does exist. West of me, I've never been there before. Oh, but it's a solid wall, because solid walls are solid walls in every color. So can't go there. All right, we've finished investigating B23. Go back through the while loop. While the search container is not empty, get a new current state. B13 looks like it's next. Pop that out, and we investigate B13. Is B13 a button? No. Okay, so we do northeast southwest stuff. Does north of me exist? Yes. Have I ever been there? No. Is it something I would walk on? Yep, it's a dot. So that would be B03 gets added to the search container. B03 says I came here from the south. All right, we're done checking north of me. East of me doesn't exist. South of me exists. Backtrace says I've already been there, so I'm done. West of me exists. West of me is I've never been there before, but west of me is solid rock, so we don't look there. All right, we're done with B13. Go back through the while loop. Get a new, while the search container is not empty, get a new current state. That would be B33. All right, that's our current location. We pop it from the search container and we investigate B33. B33, am I standing on a button? No. Okay, so I do northeast, southwest stuff. Does north of me exist? Yes. Have I ever been there? Yes. Okay, done with north. East of me doesn't exist. South of me doesn't exist. West of me. West of me does exist. Backtrace says I've never been there. And the map says, west of me is open floor. Because I'm in color B, a capital B looks like a dot, so I would go there. So, I would add west of me would be B32. So we add B32 to the search container. B32 would have to say, I came here from the east. Okay, so I checked northeast, southwest of me. I'm done investigating current location. Go back through the loop. While the search container is not empty, get a new current location, which would be B03. Now you might think again, hey, wait a minute, why are you teleporting from down there to up there? I'm not teleporting. The program's considering all of these things in the order that the queue says to do it. If we're doing a stack, we might investigate them in a different order. We'd still find the solution. We might find a slightly different path, but we would still find a path. Okay, so B03 is our current location. We pop it from the search container. We look around B03. Is B03 a button? No. Okay, so we do northeast, southwest stuff. Does north of me exist? No. Does east of me exist? No. Does south of me exist? Yes. But the backtrace says I've already been there, so I can't go south. Okay, how about west of me? West of me does exist. Backtrace says I've never been there before. What is west of B03? A solid wall. Because when I'm in color B, a capital A looks like a solid wall and I can't go there. All right, so I can't go west of me. I'm done investigating B03. Go back through the while loop. While the search container is not empty, get a new current state is B32, pop it out, and investigate B32. Is B32 a button? No. B32 is a dot, effectively. Okay, so that's dot, so I am not doing button stuff, so I do northeast, southwest of me. Does north of me exist? Yes. Have I ever been there? No. But it's a solid wall, so let's not go there. All right, how about east of me? East of me exists. East of me, oh, I've already discovered it, so skip it. South of me doesn't exist, don't look there. West of me. West of me does exist. Backtrace says I've never been there. If I've never been there, then I can check what it is. It's a dot. Okay, so a dot, I'd be willing to step on that. So that would be, west of me would be B31. We add that, and we got to mark how did I get there. I got there from the east. Okay, so that was northeast, southwest. We're done. Okay, we're done investigating B32, so we go back through the outer loop while the search container is not empty. Take a new location out, so my current location becomes B31. Pop that out. B31. What am I standing on? A dot. Okay, standing on a dot, I do northeast, southwest stuff. So I do my northeast, southwest stuff. Does north of me exist? Yes. Have I ever been there? Backtrace says no. Is it something I can walk on? Yeah, north of me is, a capital B is like a dot. So I can go there. So north of me gets added to the search container. So that would be B21. So if I'm in B31, north of me is B21. B21, we mark how did I get here? I got there from the south. Okay, I'm done looking north of me. Look east of me. East of me exists. Backtrace says I've already been there. Can't repeat it. All right, south of me doesn't exist. Done. West of me. West of me exists. Good. Backtrace says, I've never been there before. Okay, so is it something I would be willing to walk on? Yeah, in fact, it's the target. It's the goal. So we got to do our due diligence though. So we add it to the search container. So we add B30 gets added to the search container. B30 has to record how it got there. I got there from the east. Then we say, aha, that location that I'm looking at is the target location. It's a question mark. I'm done searching. I can say, is there a solution? Is there a solution? True. I can break out of my loop, I can return from the function, and then we can proceed to doing our output. Now, if we do our output, I don't want to scroll down too far because I got the map output mode down there, ready to show you. Okay, so we've got to get ready to do output. We can always get ready to do output regardless of whether we're doing map mode or list mode. We can fill up a container. Let's get our path ready. So my path starts out, I have to remember, what color did I find the target in? I found the target in color B. So I might not just have to record that there's a solution, but what was my final color? My final color was B. So I found that because when I read in the input, I know the target is at row 3, column 0, but I don't know when I read it what color I'll find it in. I don't know that until I found it. So when I backtrace from the target back to the beginning, because remember, there is a unique path going backwards. The target location, have one place I came from, who has one place they came from, who has one place they came from, etc., back to the beginning. So B30 is where I found the target. I found it in color B, and I know it's row 3, column 0. So then I go from there. B30, where did you come from? I came from the east. Well, that would have been B31. All right, B31, where did you come from? I came from the east. That would be B32. B32, where did you come from? I came from the east. That would be B33. B33, where did you come from? I came from the north. Oh, that would be B23. Okay, B23, where did you come from? I came from A. Oh, you came from A? Well, that would be A23. Okay, A23, where did you come from? I came from the north. That would be A13. A13, where did you come from? North. That would be A03. Okay, A03, where did you come from? I came from the west. That would be A02. A02, where did you come from? I came from the west. Okay, if you came from the west, that would be A01. All right. A01, where did you come from? I came from the south. Well, that would be A11. A11, where did you come from? Default color. That would be default color 11. Whoops, that made a caret again. Default color 11. All right. Default color 11, where did you came from? I came from the north. Well, that would be default color 01. Caret 01, where did you come from? I came from the west. All right, that would be caret 00. Caret 00, where did you come from? I came from being the start. I'm done. So now, if you want to print list mode, it gets a little more complicated. I've got to have, what is my current location? So I would start out, I'd say, hey, now that I've got this thing filled, my current location is caret 00, and then pop that off, and then figure out what to do. I've got caret 00, but I'm looking at the next place to go is caret 01, then you decide what to print. I'm not going to go through everything with you, but you can sort of get the idea of how to produce the list mode output from this. Map mode, we would do what we did before and go back and modify the things in the path. We would modify the things in the path in the backtrace info to say, hey, backtrace info, let me use a different color here. Let's say, hey, backtrace info, Does red work? I think that works. Yeah. Okay, so I could say, hey, I am, let's replace this capital E, question mark, plus, that's an A. That means I came from somewhere, I arrived, oops, that's an @ sign, I arrived here. Well, in the other color, I left here, that's a % sign. Plus sign, plus sign, plus sign, plus sign, I arrived here, I left here, that's a % sign, plus, and there's my @ sign, and then I've got stuff ready to print. So here's the map output for that input and for that mode of Q mode for searching. So that's what the output would look like. Okay, so now let's do a few tips on the project. So things that you need to do. One thing is make sure that you watch the videos about your IDE. I don't care if you've been using it for 1 or 2 classes or your whole life. We are going to do stuff with Visual Studio and or Xcode that you have never done before with that IDE. So watch the video on using it and step through it, go through because the command line stuff is probably things you haven't done before, at least not the way we're doing it. So you've got to get your IDE set up. You've probably never done input redirection before, so there's stuff that you need to do in Visual Studio different than you've been doing. There's stuff in Xcode you need to do different. Do those soon. Do those really soon. In Visual Studio, you've got to put a file in the compiler folder, and it's a bunch of steps to go through to get it there. The video does it, but if you can't get it working, come to Profis Hours, we'll help you. For Xcode, you're going to be using something called Xcode Redirect. You're going to have to make that part of your project. You're going to have to add an include to your code. You're going to have to add a line of code to main. Go through that stuff. Okay, so you've got to process the command line. You may say, wow, that command line stuff, that's really confusing me. I'm going to skip that for the moment. Okay, fine. If you skip the command line for the moment, you're going to have to assume something about the command line. Like you could assume that we want Q mode and list mode output. All right, so then you've got to read the map in. So remember, the map for this is going to look like, it's going to say there are 2 colors beyond the default color. So there are 2 colors beyond the default color, and the size of this is 4:4. And then it would have the actual map itself, which I'd have to scroll up to find it. But the first line would look like that, and then it might have some comments, like video 3D example. There could be more comments. But once you get the reading started, when you want to read this stuff, don't use getLine. What you want to do for this stuff is you just want to do like cn greater than num colors. Greater than the width, greater than the height. I can't remember the order. I think it's rows columns is the order of those, but double check me on that. With a 4:4, it's easy to be right. But when you read it in, you read all of those in with greater than. Then do a get line. Junk is a junk string that I don't care about. Why are we doing get line? Because there's a \n over there that we haven't consumed yet. Greater than didn't get rid of that \n. So we do that get line, and what we can do now is let's start a while loop. Oh, wait. Before we do the while loop, we gotta do one more thing. Resize vectors. Vectors, what vectors? Your map and maybe your backtrace. You could create them both now. You could resize them both now. Look at Project Zero. Project Zero talks about what does resize mean? Why do we do it? All right, so we could resize our vectors, then we could just start a while loop. While I can get line from cn, line. Okay, so I get a whole line. If it's a comment, well, wait a minute, how about if it's not a comment? If it is a comment, I can just go back through the while loop. But if it's not a comment, If it's not a comment, then I could transfer those characters in the string, like the at number sign or at dot 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 whatever. Let's transfer those over into the map 2D vector. Okay, and then I'm going to have to do some other things here. Like I'm going to have to keep track of which row I'm on, right? I started out at row is equal to 0, and now I've got to do, like, after I transfer everything over to row 0, I got to do like row plus plus. Okay, so get the reading done. Once you get the reading done, start checking if things are valid. Like, did we give you everything in, like, is that map valid? Did we give you any, like we said there were 2 colors, right? 2 colors beyond the default. If you find a capital C, invalid map, I'm done here. You find something that's not allowed, like a hyphen in one of these lines, a hyphen or a semicolon or a parenthesis, invalid map. I don't know what that thing is. In the comment, who cares? We just throw the comments away. But in the stuff that's supposed to represent the map, make sure it's valid. This is good for 2 reasons. One, the AutoGrader has test cases called invalid test cases. You get points for rejecting them. Also, if you make a mistake in your own files, it would be good for your program to reject that input rather than trying to solve something that can't be solved and segfaulting or producing garbage output and having you wondering, oh my gosh, how did I go so terribly wrong? Well, how you went so terribly wrong is you put an invalid character in it and the program went kerflooey. So it's good to do that error checking kind of early. All right. Then start working on the searching, the backtrace info, and then work on the output. And then you can go back later on and say, okay, well, now that I've got list mode working, let's go get map mode working. So you don't have to be ready to write every line of code to start. Start reading the spec and watching the video, start doing some planning, start doing the stuff you can do, like reading input, and then also you've got to do the command line eventually, right? So start doing that stuff. Look at Project Zero. Project Zero has some really useful stuff on that. Go to lab this week. Lab will have some useful stuff also. Okay, other tips. Like I said earlier, have a function that says, hey, here's a color and here's a row column. Tell me what am I looking at, right? If in this color on that row column, like if I'm in lowercase a and I'm looking at a row column that has a capital A in it, what that function should really tell me is you're looking at a dot. Or if I'm in color A and what's really there is an @ sign, what it should say is what you're looking at is a dot. Because in color A, the @ sign isn't an @ sign, it's a dot. So have a function that says, you give me a color and a row and column you're thinking about, and I'll tell you what is really there. Also, you're going to need this, and there's also another thing to look at. There's something we gave you, it's on the Canvas files, it's called Project 1, the STL, and U. And then it'll say, I think it's got the dash puzzle. Because we've got like half a dozen different Project 1s, so I renamed these because there's a little bit of stuff in there that's specific to the puzzle. But it's mostly generic. But look at this stuff. Look at this. Before you start coding, look at this. Really important stuff in there. One of the things that's in there is something you're going to have to remember to do in every project. One line of code you got to put at the beginning of main. I got my main, blah, blah. Oh yeah, int main, blah, blah. Sync with stdio, whoops, parentheses false. And you might have to put like iOS _ base : in front of that. But sync with standard IO false, really important. It speeds up input and output, and you can read in the, and you're going to hear me say this all semester, Canvas files, resources, optimization tips. .pdf. look in there. Some really useful stuff in there. It also, one of the things is it explains what sync with standard IO false does and why it's important. Other things you should do, other things that's in the Project One STLNU is have two functions. One of them, I have a function, I return an integer, and we could call it something like, I call this like char to room. Okay? So what this function needs to do is like basically, if you give it, if this character is a caret, it would return a room number 0. If it's like B, it would return 2, etc. And the Project One STLNU tells you how to do this efficiently. You do not want to have like an if-else of 27 levels in there. You want to do an if for a caret and then some math for everything else. And the Project One STLNU tells you how to do that math. And we want to have another function that's a char, call it like room to character, that accepts an integer, right? So if this integer is 0, it would tell you, oh, that's the caret room, and C would give you a 3, etc. So if you have some functions like that, it's going to make your life easier later on, because you're going to have to do these conversions of I've got a color number, or sorry, I've got a color letter, like I've got a character and I want to know the index, like into my 3D vector. Remember that 3D vector? Remember way back when I said we're going to do something like backtrace square brackets color num, square brackets row, square brackets column? Yeah, that's why we need a function, because sometimes I know my current state is like caret 02. Well, wait a minute, caret 02, what room number is that? Let's convert that character to a 0, and that's my room number, or my color number. So if I've got a function to do that conversion, it'll save me having that code 87 places in my solution, that conversion. So make some functions like that that'll help you. Come to Proffice Hours this week. Come to Office Hours this week. We've already got Proffice Hours are generally posted by the time you'll be seeing this video. If my staff doesn't have their Office Hours posted yet, they'll have them soon. So come visit us, ask some questions. We're going to be doing lots of one-on-many, like a big Google Meet or a Zoom Meet. Join it, raise your hand, ask questions, and listen to other people's questions and answers is going to help you a lot. All right, I'm going to call this done and get this posted.